Hey up guys, S-Man here, back at it again with a brand new Horizons review. Now, we're going to do a 2-in-1 review today because these episodes basically play right off of each other and it's just better, like, it flows better. Like, I literally watched these two within like a 2-hour gap of each other and it flowed way better than it would have like on a week by week, so yeah. We're just gonna get right into both of these episodes, the Kleavor arc and / Perrin arc. But yeah, let's get right into the review. Starting off with the first episode of the duo, the Rising Bolt Tacklers plus Perrin head up the mountain to look for where Perrin saw Kleavor. When they ask her what she remembers of the event, she actually reveals that she doesn't really have much memory of what happened due to the fog and just the fear that went through her while seeing Kleavor. So basically, they're off the square one, realizing they have to search the whole mountain. This is when we actually get a cool lore drop about where they talk to Perrin about her passion of photography, where she reveals like, oh yeah, I've been doing this since I was young, and I like to travel the world and look for brand new Pokemon and just like express how I feel about Pokemon through my pictures, which I loved it. And I love how they pair it off with Dot does a very similar thing where she expresses her love for Pokemon through videotaping or through her videos of Needlething. So, and I love their duo. They're together for basically the whole like episode, and I gotta say, I really wish we got more of this duo, or at least more intimate moments between the duo where they talk about their expressions through video and photography. But based on how next episode ends, I see a future where Perrin returns. Maybe the help out with Entei because Paradox Entei, you discover it in the games through Perrin, so maybe she's gonna run into Entei and contact the Bolt Tacklers. So yeah, that I really hope Perrin returns, but that's also going to go into a highlight of these two episodes. Perrin in general was just a highlight, and the whole little like her like semi arc of like realizing like, oh, the kids are like worthy, like they're all strong, and her getting all these pictures, and like her saying, oh my passion for photography has been even more enlightened by our journey together, guys, which I really loved her little arc. But we also get a fun little detail where she says her photography is even more easier with Freed's Pokemon app, where it reveals all the locations of Pokemon in the area, and we see her basically like bonding with Freed over this, saying, "Oh my God, it's actually an honor to meet you, Freed. Like, I love your work, and it actually like really helps me with my career." And Freed even says, "Oh yeah, I'm happy that people find use of my research and someone like, and that you're able to use it for your career. And I even hope to add more regions to it soon." But yeah. This then also like branches off into their little side conversation while looking for Kleavor, where she like worries about Liko, Dot, and Roy's safety, and Freed even says, "Oh yeah, they may look weak, but they're actually strong and getting stronger by the day," which is basically what Perrin's whole arc is, like I mentioned earlier. But I also think that's crazy of Perrin to say when Dot beat you last episode. But yeah, this is the point where Roy and Crocolar get really separated, and I'm gonna mention everything they do now. So basically, their whole like thing is different from everyone else's because everyone else does eventually get split up, but they all do their own individual things to get closer to the mystery of Kleavor. Meanwhile, Roy is just trying to get out of the cave. And I thought they were gonna tie these caves later on into next episode, but they never do. Like, especially after going through caves looking for Kleavor, they never tie it into, hey, the caves Roy were in yesterday or earlier in the day. But yeah. But basically, yeah. The only really interesting part about this is Roy using his intuition to escape the cave, which is nice to see. Basically, because like low key in the last bunch of episodes, including these ones, Roy has been low key like him. Like he's been like in the back, like making the plans, like coming up with strategies. Like Liko's the leader, Roy has been and Dot have just been strategists lately, which is crazy. But yeah. And the only really notable thing after is a double battle between Kilowattrel and Crocolar against a Shift Tree and Mandibuzz, where they win, and it was I didn't really see the point of it, but it was really interesting. And then there was also a point where Crocodile gets paralyzed due to Kilowattrel's attacks, and that really all it really does is just have Roy focus in on using Kilowattrel's attacks instead of Kilowattrel. I mean, yeah, Crocodile's attack instead of Kilowattrel, which I don't really see the point of highlighting that. The only really thing I could see coming from this is maybe we start getting more double battles between their Pokemons in the future, but I don't really know. Also, seeing Roy use Kilowattrel made me so mad because literally the scene of him right before was him saying, I gotta climb up a mountain. How am I gonna do this? Oh, there's ropes coming down the mountain. Use your Kilowattrel. You can literally have used it to fly on top of the hill and even scout the area like Free did with Charizard. But yeah, going back to everyone else because the Roy subplot of this episode just was pointless and made me a little mad. With this Wattrel part, Freed, Liko, Perrin, and Dot get jumped by a bunch of Houndoom. So Freed's like, alright guys, you can go run, I'll take out all the Houndoom. And then we see him and Cap and him and Charizard basically all fight the Houndoom. But a couple of them do manage to escape their battle and they continue chasing after the girls. So Liko steps up with Florigato to fight off the remaining Houndoom and Houndour that chase them. And this is where they basically get separated for the rest of the episode. We see Perrin and Dot get like hypnotized by a Trevenant after they get split off and like decide to go looking for Kleavor some more. Meanwhile, we see Liko actually noticing that there's a lot of scratch marks throughout the forest. And there's also like a cool detail which says, hey, why do these look familiar? Which we're going to get to that next episode. And we also get a scene where she uses Hatterem to basically sense the emotions of Kleavor, assuming that it's angry due to its like outlash towards all the trees and stuff. Which I thought that was a good use of Hatterem. But she does learn that it's not really mad and it's just training. But yeah, after Dot and the others accidentally get out of the Trevenant's mind control, Dot basically and Perrin team up to take it out. Which I think it's crazy how like in the last like 2-3 episodes, all of like the kids have been getting like more just like little wins against wild Pokemon than they have been for the entire series. I didn't really notice that until I was just like watching like rewatching or re-looking at some of the clips from this episode to like refresh myself, and I'm like, dang, that really has been happening a lot. But yeah, Dot is able to make an astounding connection by looking at the background of the picture where the background of the picture parent took Kleavor, noticing a specific type of tree and a Dugtrio rock. So yeah, this leads into Dot basically informing everyone, and everybody uses every bit of details they get to basically all gather into one place. That place being where Perrin found Kleavor. And the episode ends with them basically continuing to travel, and Perrin's actually being really impressed by the kids and even mentioning to Freed, I've noticed what you were talking about. These kids are really something else. They're evolving every time, by the day, and getting stronger. And I really liked it. This episode overall wasn't really that interesting to me. It was just more of a we need a branch episode to basically set up the next episode, which I'm actually happy we got, because I was getting like kind of annoyed with like the constant, hey, we found the hero Pokemon and then catching it then either the next episode or later, which it still happens here, but we had at least like in the background it's setting up, hey, it's in Kleavor is in Kitakami and Perrin found it. It's just a matter of time before we interact with it. Because like the Lapras stuff was done in the episode, the Moltres, like everything they really just stumble upon. And this one, it really feels like they did kind of stumble upon it without finding Perrin, but they had to go outright searching after they got a key on where it is. But yeah, I'm going to give this episode a 6 out of 10. The most redeeming qualities that come from this episode are the Perrin and Dot scenes, and just basically Dot and Liko like together being able to come up with like tracking down the Kleavor through the slash marks in the picture. But yeah, moving on to next episode, it's basically just picking up right back up where they're literally walking away from the Dugtrio rock and just find Kleavor. Like they find this area And then Kleavor is just there, and he's like just chilling. So basically, it starts off with Liko being the leader she is, declaring, "Hey, Kleavor, me and Terrapagos and the rest of us would like you to join us. We are gathering all the hero Pokemon in search of Rukula, and we need you a part of our team." And I love that. Like, Liko is taking initiative and even trying to understand, like, Pokemon's feelings, like we see later in the episode, and, like, outright just saying, "Hey, you should join us. We have all your friends with us, and we want to go return you guys home." But also, this is what I love. I love Liko in the belt. Could we just keep Liko in the belt, please? Like, I hate that we keep, like, taking it off. And we even see here, when she uses the belt, she can use the hero Pokemon. As we see, Lapras gets sent out, and we get a really cool bit of lore, which revealed all of Lapras's marks didn't come from, like, poachers and stuff. It came from its fight against Kleavor when Lucius first caught it, which I think that's actually a crazy reveal. And then that's where we get this scene where Kleavor and Lapras go all out on each other and have this crazy battle. Everybody has to run, and, like, because they're in danger, and it just shows, like, the strength of Kleavor, and as well as Lapras. But I also do want to mention, seeing as the kids do fight Kleavor in a 3-on-1 this episode, why did you think it was a good idea to basically have a few episodes ago them all basically being able to handle the hero Pokemon, like, 1-on-1 and handling it, and then, like, a few episodes later they all have to do a 3-on-1 and they can barely handle it. I get that Kleavor is like literally, like, probably, like, the sword of the team, where, like, it rushes into, like, danger, and it's like the knight basically of, like, Lucius' team. But still, the fact that Roy had a better chance against Galarian Moltres than he did against this Kleavor is crazy. But yeah, moving on. Like I said, they asked Kleavor to join their team. They also do realize that Lapras and Kleavor don't hate each other as they fought, and it's instead how they greet each other, because they are friendly rivals on Lucius' team, which is a really nice thing to see. And we even, like, learn, like, and, like, it's, and I think it's really similar to Roy, how at first Kilowattrel and Fuecoco had this, like, budding rival. But yeah, Kleavor walks off after rejecting their idea, and Perrin points out that, hey, it ran into a waterfall. It probably has caves behind it. We should go find it. So they all go follow it, and that's when Perrin and Freed split off from the rest of the group after Rowlet runs after Annoybat. I get that you needed to split them up, but I think that's kind of a stupid way. But yeah, this is where the episode really kicks off, where we see the kids have a 3-on-1 fight against Kleavor, and I gotta say, I love this fight. I love at first, like, them, like, just unleashing, like, strong moves just for Kleavor to block it, and we're like, okay, guys, we gotta get some strategy with this. So then we have Liko and, like, Quaxley, like, pushing in, or they have them all pushing in, but from, like, different angles, but Kleavor still is blocking them more and more. So they realize, hey, we all gotta strike at once so it can't block us all, which they do get some hits on, but it eventually knocks them all back. And it even retreats, so the kids think they have the upper hand, but that actually just leads into it luring them deeper into the forest to make it harder for them to run. And when they realize this, Kleavor traps them in the bamboo forest. Meanwhile, Freed and Perrin are basically looking for the kids and run and stumble into their battle. But yeah, I gotta say, this is one part I really love about the battle. I love that Roy is the one who finds the solution here of how, like, hey, how we can get the upper hand. And it's something he learned from his grandpa, and it's something that something that they stumble onto by accident, but could have easily been missed if they weren't paying attention, and if Roy didn't have some, like, prior knowledge about bamboo from his grandfather. So yeah, basically Roy comes up with the strategy that, hey, bamboo, when it's exposed to heat, creates a loud popping noise. And the problem they've had with Kleavor throughout the battle is it's basically, like, very aware of its surroundings. So the second it senses one of their Pokemon rushing towards it, it can immediately block it or even unleash an attack on it. So Roy is basically blowing up the bamboo that's around the area to distract Kleavor, allowing for Liko and Dot to get a bunch of good hits in on it. So Kleavor has to back up So Kleavor basically tries to retreat, and that's when it is able to get a good hit on all of the kids' Pokemon. Because it basically jumped over the wall, it created the trap the kids in. So it was able to prepare itself for when they reunite with Kleavor, and it was able to basically knock down all the Pokemon. That's when Liko steps up and terastallizes, with Roy and Dot following suit. And they all unleash one really powerful attack on Kleavor with all of their signatures, except for Quaxwell, who's actually been using Liquidation, which I gotta say, the move selection was really like interesting. Like they did do a lot of spamming, but I actually like that we're using more than one move. Like Dot was throwing in a couple of double kicks like at certain points to get more damage off, along with the liquidations. We even saw like a bunch of Fury Cutters throughout the episode, with Roy using most of his moveset besides the Summoning Voice, and Liko moving on from Magical Leaf spam to use Acrobatic spam. Alright. But yeah, Kleavor gets a crazy... They get a hit on Kleavor, and Kleavor gets a crazy hit in return, basically knocking them all out, and Kleavor still stands, but it's definitely struggling. And that's when Kleavor actually gives them his Pokeball, due to them earning his respect and him wanting to join them. And I gotta say, this is what I've wanted. I wanted them to have to battle the hero Pokemon for them to join him and basically gain their respect. Besides, they had a small fight with Arboliva, but that was so early on in the series that Liko and Roy was doing nothing. The same thing with Moltres, and then Lapras. They basically just talked Lapras into joining them. They basically were stalling against Moltres before they were able to convince it to join. And Arboliva, they just talked it down. Finally, they had to basically prove themselves to a hero Pokemon, and then they caught it. So yeah. They catch Kleavor and actually get a really cool flashback back to Lucius exploring Hisui. So this basically helps out with the timeline a lot for Lucius. This basically shows that Lucius is more recent than we think. Lucius, when we thought of Lucius, at least when I thought of Lucius, especially with how he was dressed, I thought he was someone from ages ago, more than 1,000 years. But based on how this is, this guy could be someone from the Legend Arceus era, and we even see how the ancient Pokeballs actually work, and they're basically just very stylized Pokeballs from Legends Arceus, which gotta love to see the little lore. And it's even Kitakami, I'm not Kitakami, I'm sorry, Hisui architecture and how all the villagers are dressed. So basically, the origin of Lucius' Kleavor was this Kleavor was terrorizing a town and I want to say Hisui. It always could not be Hisui, but Hisui makes the most sense because that's where we know the Abundance of Black Otterite was. Lucius realizes that this Pokemon is just having a little outburst due to it being angered by something, which I also do love. This fits with the Legends Arceus timeline because all the villagers are afraid of the Pokemon, while Lucius, who was probably one of the first Pokemon trainers on the they've seen for ever, is basically being empathetic, because of his history with Pokemon and being a trainer and knowing how Pokemon feel. But yeah, he releases it and has it promised to not terrorize the city, and that's when it actually goes to strike down Lucius. But Lapras steps in, taking the blow, revealing where it got its scars from, which I really like the lore, and it basically shows from the beginning that these two were pseudo-rivals. Then we get Lucius catching Kleavor, and the flashback ends with the whole crew shocked, especially Perrin going what did I just see? And they all... and then Kleavor goes in the Pokeball, Liko picks it up, Perrin getting a really nice shot of Liko, and it's there we go. And then talking about how strong the crew. We then get a scene where Perrin says goodbye to the crew, wanting to go back to her, going somewhere else besides Kitakami, to basically go take some more pictures after her experiences with them refueled them. And then she also says some weird statement about how she can't wait to reunite with her friends in a time where she won't even be able to recognize them. Yeah, I really wonder what this is meant to be hinting to, or how she's gonna return. But yeah, um, the episode ends with them like discussing, hey, because in the flashback, it is from the perspective of some woman, which we know who the woman is. It's the woman who's with Lucius in intro or outro. I forgot which one it is, but it's the woman that's with Lucius and Gibeon, and they like are just curious who she is. And the episode ends with Rico getting a surprise from her grandmother's Squawkabill. But yeah, overall, this episode is obviously the stronger of the two, and it was really good. And overall, it's basically just a lot of my thoughts from the last episode, but like including the battle. Like the battle was really good. Perrin was really good in this episode, and I just like I said, I've liked her development over the last couple episodes. And I just liked how the kids like really showed off their strength. This is like a really good episode to show off. Hey, the kids are stronger, but they still need work, and I loved it. But yeah, and I just loved everything with Kleavor and its backstory and the little rivalry it had with Lapis. So yeah, not to drag the video on any longer than needs to be. I'm gonna give this episode a 9 out of 10. I really loved it. Like I said, battle everything else, but yeah, overall, both these episodes were really good. But yeah, anyway, guys, that's really it I gotta say for the episode. So make sure you guys like, subscribe, leave a comment about what you thought about this arc, and yeah, hope you guys like this video. Like I said, subscribe for more, and I'm S Man signing off.